Mr. Jason Greenblatt, CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League. Thank you very much, Mr. Greenblatt, for joining us on yet another busy day on your end. And we're speaking today because there's a new episode of Musk versus ADL, an X post overnight saying, and I'm quoting here, Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim they want people to stop using against them. Post also referencing hordes of minorities flooding Western countries, popular anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, of course. In response, Mr. Elon Musk saying, you have said the actual truth, and then goes to blame the ADL for promoting racism against white people. I genuinely, Mr. Greenblatt, do not even know what the question should be here.
Yes, I mean, look, it's interesting when I think about the earlier segment and the story about seeing Hamas storing missiles and guns in children's bedrooms and hospitals, etc. Hamas exemplifies the kind of genocidal Islamic anti-Semitism that so threatens the Jewish state and Jewish people around the world. And then we have the wealthiest man in the world parroting the same kind of ugly prejudice that has also imperiled Jews for hundreds of years. I mean, to suggest that the ADL or Jewish people are anti-white, as a white person myself, I think it's pathetic and it's clearly wrong. But it feeds into the conspiracy theories of right-wing extremists, of white supremacists, right? And so to see those words while we are looking at, what's happening in Gaza after Hamas committed the bloodiest attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust. I mean, to your point, what's the question? Because there are no words to describe this kind of insanity.
And to that point, Mr. Greenblatt, beware and behold, the BBC apologizing for what they say was an error in quoting an IDF statement suggesting Israeli soldiers targeted medical teams and Arab speakers at the Shifa hospital, when the truth is, of course, the exact opposite. But my question to you is not whether too little, too late, but rather I find it insane that this error was reasonable for them, as in it made sense to them that was the quote.
Yeah, I mean, look, the blood libel of Jews trying to kill non-Jews has been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And so in the first stages of this war, there was the blood libel about Israel intentionally attacking a hospital in Gaza, which of course was the exact opposite of what happened. It was Islamic Jihad, which launched a missile aimed at Israeli civilians that ended up exploding in the parking lot of a hospital. And yet so many members of the news media left that up there or barely corrected it when they were found to be wrong. But I must say, I mean, it is just, I just talked to an interviewer from a public radio station here in America who was quizzing me on whether Hamas is anti-Semitic. Like, it is amazing that we as Jews are gaslit, if you will, told by our enemies while they are trying to kill us that somehow we are the ones at fault. It's really sick.
Yeah, blaming the victim that doesn't even start to illustrate that, and adding more fuel to this boiling pot. Youngsters, woke, Bin Laden. I wish I was inventing that, but apparently Bin Laden's post 9/11 manifesto is now an eye-opener for TikTokers. Who? How do we reconnect them to reality, Mr. Greenblatt? What is happening here?
We definitely have a problem when young people don't get their news. And by the way, there'd be challenges if they got their news from the New York Times and instead they're getting it from TikTok. So what do we have to do? Look, we as Jews, we as Zionists, we as people who believe in humanity need to work harder than ever before to get the story out there. We can't rely on the old techniques. We have to innovate to reach young people on TikTok or on SideChat, or on the other social media applications that they use. We have to tell our stories, in short form video, with memes, with the techniques that people use today. The onus is on us. We really have to do better.
Yeah, to speak their language. One would think that the atrocities we've seen on October 7th would be sufficient enough in convincing them. I guess it's not, but we do want to end perhaps with the glass half full. Mr. Greenblatt, this a mass protest in Washington earlier this week, widespread support across the political aisle. Can it be maintained, or rather, how can we make sure the support is being maintained? Not just for Israel, but for Jews in the U.S., of course.
Yeah, I mean, look, there were Jews and non-Jews, Republicans and Democrats, and the Jews who were there of all levels of observance. I saw people in the crowd wearing MAGA hats and with Pride T-shirts. Where else would you see that in America or in the world today? This was unity. This was Am Yisrael Chai, live and in person. We've got to build on this as a Jewish community. We've got to build on this as supporters of Israel. And I look, this was energizing. This was inspiring. Yeah. And this is our future if we get it right.
And we will. And we keep on quoting this again and again, but it is how it is. We will win because there's simply no other choice, and we will make sure that these sites from Washington will continue to be the case there. Mr. Jonathan,
and know that we stand with you.
And we stand with you. We're all in it together. And that's, again, perhaps the silver lining amidst all the darkness here. Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, thank you very much, sir, for speaking to us. And hopefully we'll speak at better times as well.